So those of you guys who are signed on today, I'll save the recording and I'll share it with you guys as well. If you have any questions at all, feel free to speak up or write in the chat function and I'll be able to take a look at that, okay? So let me just sort my music out. Give me one more minute and I think we've got one more signing in, so I'll get them to come on board before I start. This will be a 45-minute session. So if you've got questions at the end, we have got a live Q&A. So if you have any questions with the exercises and you didn't know what you were doing or you want to ask questions, feel free to use that time to ask me everything that you might need to know or might want to know, okay? Let's see, music is coming back on. All right. Cool. So let's get in. I'm gonna have my iPad next to me just so I can actually see you guys while you're doing it all. I'm not looking at anything else other than you guys. So we're gonna get started. All right. Cool. So this is not like yoga or anything like that, okay? So some of you might have this expectation that mobility is like yoga. It is not all the time. There are different components that you can pull into it. I won't call anyone out in particular, don't worry. But for those of you who don't know me, I am Steph. What we are gonna go into today is specific to hip mobility. So why is hip mobility important? The hip is a ball and socket joint, and a lot of the time what happens is I hear of a lot of people complaining about hip pain, lower back pain, hamstring tightness, all of the above. So the one thing that I really believe in is that hips are the key to a healthy core. And what does core mean, right? So it's linking up your stomach muscles, your deep stomach muscles, with your outer limbs, okay? So if you haven't got a strong, this part here, which I like to refer to as the X, a lot of the time we have a lot of referring issues coming through the shoulders, through the hips, through the knees, through the ankles, all of the above. So just a little bit of anatomy. It is a ball and socket joint, meaning it is capable of flexion, extension, which is just basically coming front and back, but also abduction, and then internal and external rotation. And we'll go through that today when I break down your cars for you, okay? So if someone else just signed in there. So we're gonna start off with fire hydrants against the wall. So all you need for today is gonna be a wall, and if you don't have a wall and you're doing it in pairs, you can use your partner to help you out here, okay? So I can see Johnny and Nods over there. You guys are gonna put hips next to each other. And if you haven't got a partner, I'm just gonna mute whoever it was that just came on in, just because that is noisy. Muting all of you guys. All right, cool. So when you guys go up against the wall, I want your hands underneath your shoulders and your hips are directly above your knees, okay? So that's it, Lane. You're gonna come find that position as well. All right, so as you're in that position, all we're looking to do is draw big circles with our knee. Now, I want you to make sure your hips stay on the wall at all times and your shoulder stays on the wall at all times as well. So as you're here, you're looking to draw this nice big circle without, you can't actually go anywhere. That's why I like to use the wall a lot, okay? So we're all gonna go through this just 10 times in one direction and then 10 times in the reverse direction. When you go through this one, I want you to move nice and slowly. Bring your knee up to your chest, bring it out, bring it all the way around. Don't worry about thinking too much about what you have to do here. You're just trying to draw a big circle using your knee. So your thigh bone is what's rotating inside the joint. Now, as we go through, we've got, I think, 3 more. I did make a joke today. When I'm a student, I tend to count, but when I'm teaching, I forget how to count. So if we're doing extras, there's no harm in doing extras, but if we haven't done enough, I expect you to do the number that I have just said. All right, so from there, we're gonna go backwards now. We're reversing the directions. We're gonna go all the way around, up and over, and 3, and 4, 5. The downside to me wearing my headphones is that you can hear my heavy breathing as I go through the exercises and I try to talk to you throughout. Okay, we got 2 more. And one last one. And good. All right, we're gonna change to the other side now. So just change directions, face the other way, and we're gonna go in again. So when you're in this position here, same thing, set up your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Make sure your body is glued to the wall. One thing I like to do is use props as well. So if you have got a block nearby, place it where your hip is, and that way it almost guarantees that you cannot cheat, because if you pull your hips away, the block will drop down. Okay, so optional, it doesn't have to be a block, it can be a towel, it can be anything you want. We are gonna use that later on when we come through our cars. So right now we're just gonna go through the backward circles 10 times. Nice, I can see nice big circles being drawn there. Today is really just about teaching you about your body, about giving you a little bit more self-awareness, and for you to develop that for yourself. I'm just gonna provide the tools for you so that hopefully you learn something, maybe one or two things today that you can carry forward into your everyday lives. Good, we're gonna reverse direction, kick back, drawing up and over. It's like you're going over a hurdle with your knee. Good, 5 more. Nice work. Welcome to whoever it was that just joined in. I can't see the small writing from here. Good, last one. And good. All right, coming on out of that. So we're doing 2 things as an assessment today, okay? Our first one is gonna be our pancake. So our pancake is just a seated forward fold, not even a seated forward fold, it's just a seated position with your legs wide open, okay? So if you've got really tight hips, I would suggest maybe using a couple pillows to put underneath your hips, or maybe sit on the block. Otherwise, if you've got more open hips, the position that we're gonna come into is basically opening your legs up as wide as they can go on the mat. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna hold this position. So we're looking to open up our hips, but assess where we are in space right now. Okay, so if you're stuck at home, and I see some of you might be a little bit strapped for space there, especially if you're in pairs, kind of shimmy your way around so you can basically put your foot in towards someone's crotch. Good, and if you have got space, make the most out of it. So in this position, the alignment that we're gonna go with right now is we're gonna pull our toes up towards the sky. I'm gonna keep my hands behind my hips to begin with because I wanna sit up nice and tall. My toes come up, I'm gonna pull my pinky toes backwards, and I wanna push my knees down into the ground. So the first part of the setup is to actually find a nice long spine as opposed to trying to round forward into this position, okay? So we wanna roll the thighs outwards. Think of your kneecaps being the driving force here. This is what's connecting your feet all the way up to your hips right now. So use that, squeeze them tight, and then roll them slightly backwards. Then from here, if you have space, we're gonna come into the deepest part of your fold. So for some of you guys, I know how far you can go, and I'm watching you on the screen right now. So we're gonna slowly hinge from the hips. And when I say hinge from the hips, I want you to picture your belly button coming down towards the ground, but it's your bum that's tilting backwards, okay? So you guys hold this position. Let me just show you a quick side profile. I know I'm not in a wide fold, but the hip position that you want is not a forward fold like this. I want you to really think of lengthening and think of your butt bone poking backwards. So you might get to here and find this is the biggest stretch for you because finally you've put your hips into the right position here. If that's the case, you stay here. Okay, so from here, we're gonna stay in our wide-legged fold and we're holding for 2 minutes. So as you hold for 2 minutes, you start to hinge your butt bones backwards. And again, if you're really, really tight, you might just be sitting upright. That's fine. I just want you to try and focus on having a straight spine, okay? So we're gonna hold that here. If you can go deeper, start to come down a little bit more, still keeping your chest upright. So Patrick, for you, I know you are gonna get your belly down to the ground. Come down, come down. Now you know what it feels like to get called out. All right, staying down here. We're gonna take deep breaths while we're here, focusing on the inhale through the nose and then out through the nose. Then again, in through the nose and out through the nose. Try to see if your body can start to melt down a little deeper, going further down, and further down. Good, as you're in this position here, we're gonna slowly keep everything melting down. This part here, as we hold the 2 minutes, it's just more about opening everything up, but keeping the alignment. Once again, through the breath, you're gonna see how deep you can go throughout this pancake. We're into the final minute now. So if you can and you want to actually help your legs a little bit more, think of using your hands to spiral the thighs outwards or the shins outwards. Really good, Ling. Nice work. Nice, Allison. Good to see you. Good. Still try to keep a nice, strong, and long spine as well. So really roll the shoulder heads back. Even though I can fold down, I still get a really big stretch just by pushing my thighs out. So Patrick, where you are, remember what we worked on earlier? Push your tailbone up towards the sky and push your butt as far back as you can go. Johnny, for you, focus on a straight spine. That's it. Nice, Ling. I think you can reach further forward. Really stretch your spine in opposite directions. Keep going. Go as far as you can now for the last 20 seconds. And good. As we go into the final countdown, just wake the toes back up. Just prepare yourself. As we come out of this, if you know that you are capable of doing it, I invite you to lift your hands up. If this is your first time doing it, leave your hands on the floor, okay? Then you're gonna slowly push yourself back up or come up without hands. All right, so that is gonna be our assessment right now, just to see how our hips feel. We'll come back to that one at the end, but later on it's more for a cool down. We're gonna build a little bit of heat today. So as we come through the next bit, we're gonna come into our partial hip cars, and this is up against the wall. No one is allowed to move faster than me when I teach cars, because that means everyone here has to wait. And I know that this is via Zoom, which means you are the only one holding yourself accountable, but I will guilt trip you in saying that you're only cheating yourself. So let's get into it. We're gonna get whatever prop you can find, whether it's a block, a cushion, a towel, a rolled up towel, a jumper, anything you can find that you can smush up against the wall or against your partner. So actually partners makes it way harder. So that's really good for you guys, both Amelia, JP, and Johnny and Naz. So from here, I'm gonna put the block up against the wall. This is there to remind me not to let anything drop off, okay? I need to keep pressing into the wall here. And as mentioned at the start, our hip is capable of flexion, abduction, internal and external rotation, and also extension. The big thing with this part here is to make sure that nothing else moves through the spine, through the arms, which means that you do not bend your elbows. You basically want to lock everything in place apart from this hip joint here. So I'm working my left hip joint first. So if everyone can work their left side first, left side's on the outside right now, and your right hip is pressing into your prop or your wall. All right. So now I want you to take a deep breath in. As you inhale, take a whole bunch of deep breath in. And as you exhale, I want you to pack the air down into your lower belly. So it's like you're bracing your core here. Nothing can move now, okay? You're pressing your hips into the wall, you're gripping the floor tight, and your right toes are tucked under to give you more stability and leverage. Now from here, I want you to think you've got a tennis ball behind your left knee, and you want to squeeze that tennis ball tight. Don't let that tennis ball go. And if you have a tennis ball nearby, feel free to put that in behind the knee. We're gonna get in now. So I'm gonna draw the knee up towards my chest and hold. As I draw my knee in, notice how my spine does not change. If you wanna go further, Patrick, Nadia, you guys can bring your right hand to your back. Don't let anything else off the wall or your partner. Then from here, when you can no longer go into flexion without changing any part of your spine, keeping your left arm straight, slowly draw the knee out to the side, like a dog peeing on a fire hydrant. Stay there. Take a look, take a body check, and make sure your hips are still stable. Now from here, when I say internal rotation, I want you to picture the thigh bone spiraling inside the hip joint. Remember, it's a ball and socket joint. So your ankle goes up towards the sky. You start to go internally rotating as much as you can, and then you bring it into extension. So I'm basically breaking down that fire hydrant that we did at the start, but I'm still squeezing the imaginary tennis ball. Feel your hamstrings, feel your glutes. What's happening, Ling? Why'd you come out of it? Come back in. Good. And then we're gonna come back down to the halfway mark. From here, we take a short break. We don't reset, we go straight back up into extension. Now extension here, a lot of the time I see Instagram booties when people kind of go into this position, that is your lower back collapsing. So think of curling your tailbone back under. True hip extension should be no movement through here, and you feel just your bum and your hamstring working. Now from here, we're gonna externally rotate. Draw that knee up all the way to your tricep, up and over an imaginary coffee table to your left-hand side, in towards your chest, and then back down. That's 1 rep. We're gonna go for 3. I know I can't hear sounds, but I'm visualizing everything that you guys are probably saying in your mind right now. We're gonna go for 2 more reps. I'm putting my best poker face on for you guys. We're gonna go on in, and in you go. In towards your chest, out to the side. Internal rotation, spiral that thigh bone inside the socket, coming up, 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 and then come back down. If you're getting cramps, that's normal. I'm gonna tell you to push through it. Push back into extension, external rotation, draw that knee up over the hurdle, find your outer limits, in towards your chest, and then back down. Last rep, make this one your best one. In towards your chest, out to the side, internal rotation, lift that knee up as you internally rotate, go all the way around, round, round, coming all the way back down. Then from there, kick straight back into extension, hold it there. Squeeze your bum, tuck your tailbone under, suck the belly in. External rotation, draw that knee out, your foot drops inwards towards the wall, suck your belly in, slide your foot all the way up, in, and down. Whew. Okay, I don't know about you. If I could unmute you guys right now, I would love to know your reactions. We're gonna go straight over to the other side. This is incredibly tiring for your stomach, for your arms, for everything else outside of the hip joint, but also it's incredibly hard for the hip joint as well. The beauty of this is that all of the tension is created from within. So you're controlling how far you actually go with this. You're exploring your body's limits. You're exploring where your hip is capable of going to. Everyone's range is different. And that's the other thing about this. There's no need to look around and see what anyone else is doing, because it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you're learning about your body, and that is what we're trying to take care of. Joints have a very poor blood supply, so the only language we can really communicate is in force, which means that we have to generate force in order to push nutrients into the joint space itself, okay? So there is, yeah, like I said, poor blood flow, so in order to feed it, we actually need to slowly push the nutrients in, which means we have to use the muscles around the joint to help with that. So enough talk, back in. Pushing the block or your prop into your wall or your partner, keeping a nice flat spine, looking straight down, keeping a neutral spine. Suck the belly in, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, pack the air back down into the lower belly. Everything is bracing. You have a band of muscles around your spine, protecting your spine. Pushing into the left foot, right knee comes off the ground. Squeeze the imaginary tennis ball, hold. Then from here, draw the knee in towards the chest, hold. Slowly draw that knee out, dog peeing on a fire hydrant, and find your internal rotation. First set is always going to be a little bit more of an exploration. Go all the way around, but really try and picture everything else staying as still as possible. It's like your body's locked in cement. You come back down to the halfway point, don't reset, kick straight back up into extension. Be wary of your lower spine and your tailbone. Scoop your tailbone under. External rotation. Draw the knee out, slide it across the imaginary table or over the hurdle, in towards your chest, and then back down. Second rep, make this rep a little bigger. And when I say bigger, it's trying to expand the circle inside the joint. So again, deep breath in, reset, and up we go. In towards the chest, out, internal rotation. Come all the way around, and down. From there, we're gonna kick straight back up, up, open, slide it over the hurdle, in towards the chest, and down. Set number 3, up you go. We're only doing 3. We've not got multiple sets, don't worry. Out to the side, internal rotation, push the boundary, go up, all the way around, and down, and straight back up into extension. External rotation, go around over the hurdle, in towards your armpit. Don't change the spine, chest, and relax. All right, have a quick breather, get some water if you need to. Those are hard work. Shake your arms out, shake your hips out. The next exercise we're gonna come into is combining some of those parts of the cars to create a new movement pattern. So one thing I'm gonna say is, the main thing with this one right now is to figure out what we're gonna do when our range is limited. Does not matter if your range is limited. What happens is you can always change the starting position or your base position. So today's base position, what we're gonna start with, I'm gonna teach you from butterfly base. I actually want your back against the wall again. I just saw a question come through. Oh, push through the pain, Johnny. That's not a question. Right. So from here, what's going to happen is I'm not going to lean right up against the wall, but I'm going to put the block behind my hip right now. Okay. So again, if you've got limited hips, if you haven't got a wall nearby, no worries. You can do it on your mat. You don't have to have the wall. I just like to create external blocks to make sure that you cannot go anywhere with it. So if you're limited in your hips today, I will ask you to actually start off on your elbow. So I'll go from level to level, and you can stay at whichever level you want to stay on, okay? Because we're going to go through 3 reps. So elbow on the ground, I'm leaning to one side. This is kind of a half butterfly base. So butterfly base being this leg, this is the working leg. So now we're going to think of what we just did with our hips there. But from here, I'm going to push my body right up against the wall again. Okay, so I want to make sure I cannot cheat in this range. So as I stay here, I'm looking to lean back on the wall, and that is that. So my hips are in position. Now we're going to look to think of using the hip flexors here. So everything through the front side of the body, including the core, this is what's drawing my leg up. And if you feel anything through your lower back, you're probably arching to create the movement, which means you need to pull it back again to really give yourself that feedback to scoop the tailbone back under again. Okay, so I was working with someone in particular today who was doing that, and they complained of a lot of lower back pain. And we figured out it was the external obliques, which actually we needed to strengthen in order to go through with the movement. He's putting his hand up right now because he's actually on this video. He wants double up today. So as we lie down on one side, his name is Patrick. So as we lie down on one side, we're going to put all the weight into here. The same principles apply in terms of keeping everything else rigid. Now, when I come up now, I'm going to use my hip flexors and my core. We're going to lift the knee up in towards the armpit as high as you can go. Just work to hold that at the highest point possible, pulling everything in. If it's uncomfortable, keep your hand here, press it up against the wall or bring it down to the floor, but press as hard as you can so you can draw that knee up as much as you can go. When you can no longer go into flexion, we hold. Now we're going to draw our entire leg out, out, out as far as we can go. I can feel my hips wanting to cramp, but I will not let it get the better of me. We're going to stay here. Hold. Draw that knee up higher. So it's exactly what we did in our hip car, but it's a different base position. Stay. Good. Now with the block behind you, you've given yourself a little bit of space. So from here, we're going to internally rotate like we did just now. Internal rotation, but don't let the hips move. Find that rotation. Try and find the wall with your foot, but don't let the angles change. Hold, hold, hold. Good. Slowly draw it back out. Now slide it up the wall, up towards your armpit as much as you can go, and then bring it back down. So we're just grooving through the hip in through partial sticky zones. And I say sticky zones because a lot of the time we have this one point when it comes into the rotation. Most of us are deficient in rotation. So we're going to go back into that again. Patrick, take the block away from the wall. You're going flat up against the wall right now. I'll join you. Anyone else who's got good hips, come right up against the wall. Second level, if that was okay for you, you want to stay there, stay on your elbow. Second level now, you stay leaning, but now it's one hand is on the floor, straight on. Other hand can be wherever you want, locking the body down. I'm going to keep it on my knee to lock it in place. And then we're going to go up again. So again, it's not this. It's controlling to use everything to draw it in. Everyone come up and join me. Hold that there. I'm going to wait here. Good. Stay. Nice. Allison, pull it up higher. Good. Now keep your stomach engaged. Press everything flat against the wall again. Hold it up there. Now draw the knee out. So if you're flat up against the wall, you should feel your butt smushing up against it. Hold. Find the cramping sensation. Come through the outer hip here. Press hard into the wall. Hold. Internal rotation. Keep the knee where it is. I don't want anything to move, but I want you to feel your butt contract and your ankles coming backwards. Try and touch your heel to the wall. Hold. 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 Good. Now come back into external rotation. So your foot's trying to come forward now as your knee goes back, and then slide it up towards your armpit. In, foot comes back down. All right, last rep is going to be up all the way if you want to go, or you want to stay where you were, stay on your elbow or your hand. Last one, so I think Lynn, come up onto your hand. You're going to have your hands up in this position here. So for this one, same thing again, we're staying up against the wall. Now notice how much more challenging this is. I'm just going to move to the side so I don't hit my plants. So from here, you're going to clasp your hands, turn your body towards this left-hand side here, and all the weight is in my left leg. Now from here, lean back into the wall, and now we're going to use the hips, again, hip flexors. Draw your knee up towards your armpit, hold. Johnny, why are you moving? Come back in, hold. You guys may be thumbnails, but I see movement and there shouldn't be movement right now. Good. So slowly keep everything tight. Draw your knee out, 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 hold. Patrick, go wider. Lynn, go wider. Hold it there. Go even wider, Allison. Good. Keeping your knee where it is. Internal rotation. Find the wall. Find the wall. Find the wall. Come back into external rotation. Kick forwards. In towards your armpit. Back down. And relax. All right, on to the other side. So all we need to do is shift the weight over. Same thing. And if you want to do all three on the hardest level, if you feel like you're ready for it, feel free to stay there. Again, it's as hard as you want to make this for yourself. If you know you're on level 1 and you cannot go past that level, stay there. This is a journey that takes years to actually master as well, okay? So I'm going to warm up with level 2 first, and then reps 2 and 3, I'm going to go heavier. So if you want to join me there, feel free to join me. Same thing, push your back flat against the wall. You can use the block there to give you more space if you want, or you can go flat against it straight away. So arm's going to come down, anchor the other one down. Once again, we're going to draw knee up to armpit, hip flexors ready to go, and up you go. Drive it up, hold. So I really need to press into the wall here, press into the floor as well. Drive your knee up as high as you can go. Then you drive your knee out. Squeeze the outer hips, feel everything smushing. Feel the cramping sensation kick in. I'm trying to hide my face, but I realize I'm scrunching it up as I'm looking at you guys. Now, internal rotation. Find the heel going backwards, back, back. Try not to let the knee drop too much. Hold. Come up higher, Patrick. Good. Now, drive that knee back into external rotation. Foot needs to come forward. If you feel a pinching sensation, it's usually quite normal, but if it's sharp pain, pull out of it a little bit. Then slowly bring your leg back in, down into your half butterfly base. If you want to go harder, you can go up a level, whether it's level 1, 2, or 3. You know where to go. I'm going to go to level 3 now for my next 2 reps. So I know Patrick and Lynn, you guys are joining me here. Nods, I think you can come join us here as well. So from here, bring your arms over to the right-hand side, lean the weight into that right leg. And then once again, it's not a push off. We need to control our hip flexors here. So I'm going to look over to my right, ready to go. 3, 2, pack the air down, and up you go. Drive your knee up. Hold. Slowly drive it out into abduction. Then from here, find your internal rotation. Oh, this side's sticky. Internal rotation. Pay attention to what the different sides feel like to you. Hold. External rotation. Back into armpit. Down. Take a short break. Ooh. So for me, I've noticed that my left side is definitely worse than my right. So I'm actually going to scale that down to level 2. Do it properly as opposed to just pushing to level 3 because my ego gets in the way. So I'm going to keep my hand there. If you felt, again, one side was easier than the other, go level up. If one side is harder, regress, okay? Once again, when you're ready, last rep. In you go, pack the air down, and draw that knee up. Hold. Push everything flat against the wall, out to the side. Internal rotation. Hold that there. Keep everything in. Squeeze. Turn the thigh bone in as much as you can. Hold it for 3, 2. External rotation. Turn the foot forwards. Hold for 3, 2. In and down. Nice work. All right, we're going to add it in to one little bonus round before we come back into our hip cars again. Okay, so I like this exercise a lot. This one is called a Cossack lunge. So we're going to learn how to add that all together, but we're going to come forward off of the wall this time. So as you're in this position here, I'm going to stay in that same position that I did earlier. So here, my hands are either going to be in front, or if you need more assistance, again, there's no harm or no shame in actually using your hands the first few times you do it. The end goal is to basically learn to move off of the ground without using your hands and moving as slowly as possible. That was probably the worst example I could have shown you, but we're going to go through it now. So in this position, we're going to learn how to actually go from this base position, which is your combat base or your half butterfly, and then we actually put the weight into that foot. So again, assist as much as you need. Use the wall, use the floor, whatever you need to in order to get into this position. Now, once I am here, I'm going to learn to swing my foot behind me, and I'm going to try and slowly Shift the weight into this leg, and I want to slide this leg out. This is my Cossack lunge here, okay? Good. Now, one key thing with a Cossack is your heel needs to stay on the ground though, okay? If you're okay there, we're all gonna transition to the other side. So transitioning to the other side, again, you can use your hands, or if you wanna stay with me for a harder level, keep the toes pointing forward, stay low, and push over to the other side. Nice work. Good, keep your chest up. Patrick and Ling, bring your hands behind your head, make it a little harder. Good, we're gonna transition back over to the other side again, so staying low, go across. And because we're all in tiny little thumbnails, it's perfect. I wanna make sure I see you in the thumbnails because you shouldn't be higher than that. Good, one last time over, change to the other side, hold. Now from here, how do we transition back? We're gonna bring our hands back over. We're gonna slide the knee in, bring it back in, bring it behind, and then we sit back down. So all it is learning how to move across the floor by opening your hips up and providing yourself more space to go into it. And later classes, I'll actually link everything back in together. But this is just like a short intro to show you what you're capable of doing. We're gonna do 2 more of those before we come back into our pancake again. So hands come back in, keep your body in this position, lean forward. And again, Patrick and Ling, keep your hands behind your head. Good, hold that position there. When you bring your leg across, you can even go straight into this position here. So for everyone, let's try that out. We're gonna go from our combat base, shift your weight forward, spiral on the knee, and then bring your leg all the way out to the edge of the mat already. Good, then from there, plant the toes down, turn, and you're in. Nice, good. Then from there, we're gonna turn back again, drop the knee back down, see how we come back in, and then come back to a seat. You don't have to put your hands anywhere else. You can use the floor again, because remember this here is the same position. All we're doing is finding the rotation through the hips to allow ourselves to come into these positions, which is again, just a transitional work, okay? So we'll do 3 this side, 3 the other side, and we're coming back into our pancake. So come back into the Cossack lunge. So as we're here, that's it. Turn, drop the knee down, slowly bring it back. Ooh, that's sticky. Good, and then point the toe to sit back down. Nice, Allison, that's it. And then again, lift, rotate, Cossack, set the toes, plant it, and then come back down. Nice, good, then that's really intimate over there in Johnny's household. Good, then from there, turn, drop the knee down, bring it back, and then come back in. One last rep. From here, in, spiral, toe, Cossack. Good. Then from there, yeah, Ling, keep your hands on your head, nice. And then from there, turn, foot, all the way in. Good. Now we're gonna go over, transition back to the other side, no hands if you can, or hands if you need. Come back over. So from here, we're setting exactly the same position. Now from here, Cossack, transition, over. Nice. Now from there again, turn, drop the knee down, spiral this over. You have to use your hamstrings here. You might cramp if you've got poor hamstring endurance or if the muscles are tired. Then from here again, come back up, rotate, Cossack, down. Knee, bring it in, sit. Back in, up, rotate, Cossack, knee, bring it in, and sit. One last one. And up, rotate, toes, Cossack. Then again, turn, bring it in, and down. And nice. All right, sit down, have a drink of water if you need. Your hips should be pretty fired up there. So we're gonna bring it back into that pancake again like we started and see how that feels through the hips again. So maybe if you used a block earlier, you can try without a block or stay on the block and do the same assessment. Just notice how much more open your hips feel now. So from there, oh, talking when you're teaching is like the ultimate test. All right, so legs are wide open again. This is our last exercise, and I'm just gonna open up the floor for Q&A. So if you have questions about those exercises, I can come over and I can actually open your video up and you can show me So this is like the time that you can use to ask all the questions that you want. So from here, pulling the toes back, once again, we're gonna really think of pushing your hip bones back, push your belly button forward, and you want lumbar extension. So your lower back area wants to come into extension, like you wanna arch your back as much as you can. Then from here, start to lean, hinge forward, and now you find your deepest point with your butt poking backwards and your tailbone coming up towards the sky. This one is just about slowing the breath down. I've got a 2-minute timer on as we speak. And I just want you to slow your breath down. You do get the music right now instead of my voice and my breath. Really try and think of your belly slowly loosening, slowly falling heavy towards the floor. You can either stretch your arms or you can just let them fall. Keep them underneath your head. Just slow the heart rate back down. Continue to think of your tailbone pulling back and your pinkies pulling back towards the wall as your body melts forward. Maybe try and go deeper now that we're into the last minute. Pull even further. Maybe bring your arms over to your shins once again and roll them outwards. Try and keep a nice flat spine or maybe even an arch back as you're in this position. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. 2 more deep breaths in. Deep breath out. And last one in. And last one out. Good. From there, gently bring your hands back in. Walk your hands all the way in. Coming back into a seated position. And good. From there, just slowly shake the knees out. Good. We're just going to move into a slight spinal twist here. Turn to your left-hand side. Bring your left hand behind your body. Fingertips only on the floor. I want you to press them directly into the floor. Sit your spine tall and then turn to twist. You bend your left elbow as you straighten your right and you look over your left shoulder. Keep pulling your toes back again. Pinky toes to the back wall. And good. Slowly come back to center. We're just slowly releasing a little bit more of the lower back before we come to a close. Sit up nice and tall once again. Hands in line, fingertips on the floor. Bend the right elbow. Straighten the left and turn over your right shoulder. And good. Slowly coming out of that. Gently bring one foot in, other foot in. Hold on to your feet and just loosen up the knees. Uh-oh, I hear a baby, meaning Natasha's on. I can hear Luca.
Say hi. Hi. Come on.
Wait, and that's it for today. Hold on, hold Luca for now. I'm going to open up the floor for Q&A now. So if there are any questions, any feedback, anything at all, please feel free to use this time now.
Question.
Yes, question.
My
What's
hips
up?
don't lie.
Oh my gosh. Ling, Allison, JP, Amelia, Patrick, Johnny, Nods. Ben is here too. Questions on your hips? I'm saying on your hips, Patrick, by the way. Keep it censored. Oh man. All right. No, Ling, how are you?
No, good. No, it's good. Definitely a good stretch. I've always felt like I'm quite flexible, but then I never really sort of push beyond what I'm very used to. So this was definitely quite challenging and breaking out into a sweat.
I was gonna say that's why it's not stretching, so it's good to know. Patrick's a yoga teacher too, so he's extremely flexible, but he has been humbled by coming into some sessions as well. So it is good to know that as flexible as you are, that doesn't always mean that you're strong and stable through the joints, and that's something that we really work on. So it's joint stability. Joint health means that you're making sure that you can support your joints as opposed to just open into positions because your muscles allow you to. But yeah, it's good to have you.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, so the internal rotation one with the legs, so I've got immediately as I did it, my glutes started cramping really quickly. I guess it's just because it's not really used to the position, or what?
Yeah,
What's
I
causing
would
it? I guess.
straight away. I always call it neurological confusion. So when that happens, it's like your body's not used to being in that position, so it kind of freaks out. But you can train into that, and the more you do it, obviously you'll probably go into cramps quite a bit. But when I teach that, I often say push through the cramp, because you'll notice that after you push through a little bit, it goes away. It's just that immediate reaction that your body goes into that fear zone, and suddenly you're like, oh my God, I can't do it. It's painful. But the pain is temporary. And so
Okay.
that's why earlier
Yeah.
on I was saying, push through it. It'll be okay. I mean,
Cool.
yeah, firsthand, there are quite a lot of people who've done it in person as well. So they know that there's no escape from it. But yeah.
Cool.
Any
Thank
other
you. Thanks.
No problem. Any other questions? No?
No, not for me. Thank you.
Okay. Oh my God. Hi, Luca. Hi.
Luca.
Let's see Luca's hips. Actually, we need this as an example. Luca, can you show us how wide your hips can go? Tasha, cue you. Open those legs. So babies' bodies are probably one of the best things to look at in terms of what they're capable of doing. If he were to come fold into a pancake right now, he's obviously not got the body control yet, but look at how open our, oh, there's puke. Just a bit of puke, no worries. Babies' bodies are often the types of things that we try to mirror as adults, but we realize how much we've kind of screwed our bodies up through our lifestyles and through technology, through sitting for long periods of time, whatever it is. So it's a good way to learn from them, look at how they can move, and then try and figure out how we can try and reverse that process by developing control and just by moving smarter as well. Patrick, any questions? No? Sure? I'm going to unmute you in a second. No? Allison? You guys are too shy. Then don't ask any questions. I know where you are. Get out of here. Nope, no questions. Johnny, nods, anything? How are the hips for you guys?
Johnny, how are your hips?
Bloody hard.
You're doing well.
I have one question, and that's for JP. What are you watching on TV? Because I can see some flashing.
No, don't answer that question. Goodbye. Thanks Monday. No worries. Thanks, guys, for joining. I'll let you guys know when the next one is on. Yeah, that's it.
Johnny, keep that good work up.
Thank you. Bye.
No problem. Bye.
See you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Torture chamber. Bye.